This is our Humans as Organisms title, which is part of the Forwards with Science series aimed at Key Stage 2 science, although some of the activities are suitable for younger or older children. This title and the others in the Forwards with Science series require texties to run, and that means you need texties on the computer in order to run any of these titles. Click on here to go back to Humans as Organisms. A number of buttons on the opening screen. I'll show you what some of them do. If we click on that one, we've got an activity on, information about the title. This is version 3.47. It was published June 2012, and it contains a lot of thinking activities in addition to the other information and activity screens. Click on here to find out what the different buttons do that appear on the screens. We'll click on one or two of these other buttons. Click on that one, an activity on the heart, that one an activity on the lungs, and that opens the menu page, and we'll click on this one, the skeleton, and back to there. Click on that one, that opens the first activity in the title, and a good opportunity to talk about the taskbar here. This arrow predictably goes backwards, that one goes forwards. We know what that one does already. That is the task button, tells the children what to do. That is the support button, and sometimes there are hotspots with further information on them. This is the research button, this is the resource button, and that takes them back to the opening screen. We've been told to click on any of the organs to find out what they do, and that's what we've done here. Now, for instance, if we wanted to go into here, that would give a totally open-ended screen that the children can do their own work on. They can in fact design a new screen, as the button suggests that they do. And for instance, they may want to do this, and they'll take that out, and they will say, right, I want the label for here, label food pipe, and move that to the right position. And they can do that with all of the organs. They can write about them, they can make an information screen that can be printed. Right, talking about printing. So if we want to print their work, we can either do a print screen on the keyboard and save the activity in Paint as a JPEG and put it in the children's folder, or if we use this icon here to print, we'll find that the buttons don't print and the background colour doesn't print, and in fact there is more room down there for the children to add to their activities. So they could make quite a lot, they could do quite a lot on that. They could use that as a textbook in fact, and they can write quite a lot, not a textbook, an activity book, and they can write a lot of information down there. The program itself is a textbook and the screens as activity pages. So there we are, back to that, and if we click on that one, we get a word map suitable for the older children. It could say the heart pumps blood around the body, the brain controls the whole body, and here again for the older children, a Venn diagram with text boxes within it so that they can write, and they can compare the small and large intestine in this instance, or any other organs of their choice. Position of the main organs, so what we have to do there is put the organs, move the organs into position. And here we can write about the organs, the heart is, well maybe say where the heart is in the body, what the heart does, and of course these will extend downwards as the children write. A role play activity, if only they can talk. They want to know what to do, so they're not sure what to say, and here we go to this one with the food pipe, for instance. Oh, it pushes food to the stomach, so we know then that that's what I will do, I push food to the stomach. And you could have an interesting role play activity based on this. Here we have a prioritising the main body parts, which is the most important. Is it one that is there, or do they need to write something else down? And here, justifying that, why it is important, and so on. This is a good activity for using on the whiteboard. And here we have words. We can park that down there, put that one down there. They're colour-coded, which makes it an easy activity for anyone in the class. Even the lower ability children would be able to do this activity, and they can click on there if they can't hear the word spoken. Another way of doing the same thing, what the organs do, and so on. And again, another one of those. Sides of the heart, again a role play activity. They don't know what the different parts do, so they click on there to find out. That tells what happens there and what happens there, and so on, and they can go there and find out what happens there. Also, they can add to the diagram, they can complete the picture of the heart, diagram of the heart, and they can use the support button for help. And once again, an associated Venn diagram. What the heart does, the role play, how blood passes through the heart. They can describe what happens on the right side and the left side. and they can use the arrows to show what happens. The heart is a pump, and once again, understanding blood circulation, how exercise affects heartbeat. Here, a good activity, they have a team of 5, 1 to time, 2 to measure, and so on. And they do the activity resting, reading, resting again, and they record the heartbeat in minutes. They can write down what they did here, they can go there, how exercise affects heartbeat rate, and they can complete the graph, and they go there to have the parts they need. Development of the teeth, and parts of the tooth, a labelling activity, and here, I forgot to show you that one, looking after the teeth, and of course what we've got here is different stages and room for discussion there about dental caries and so on, and one here that the children can fill in about caring for their teeth. Maybe number those and then write below here about what the different numbers mean. The skeleton, an activity here on the skeleton, a jiving skeleton by the looks of it, but if we use the R button on the keyboard we can change the angle there, and of course the children can label the parts and go into here, the jobs of the skeleton, and once again a word map there on the jobs of the skeleton and an associated Venn diagram for the older children. Labelling activity, prioritising, lots of different things. Mechanics here, putting the muscles in the right place. Here, thinking about the importance of the different parts, the name of the work and the importance of each part. And remember, these cells will extend downwards. A baby in the womb, again, labelling and describing, or maybe going into here, what might the baby be saying? What might the mother be saying? Is the baby running out of room? Is the baby wondering what lies ahead? Is the mother looking forward to seeing the baby? And so on, something for the children to think about. And once again, collecting our thoughts, the baby before and after birth, and again with a Venn diagram. Thinking about food, a good introduction to food here. We have a grid, and we have letters of the alphabet, and the children have got to see how many of those they can fill with words about food. It could be words like fibre, protein, it could be words like butter, carrots, and so on. We'll use carrot here, and we can show how this activity works. We use carrot there, and I suppose we could write pulses here perhaps, and we could write fish here maybe, and we can decide what the different types of foods, classes of foods in these different foods. So we can either drag that up there to carrot, or we can decide that we're going to follow the instructions that I've got here for colouring the individual cells. So we'll do that, we'll select a cell, we'll go into there, we will go into cell and fill colour, and we will choose yellow because it is a carbohydrate. Fine, so what we've got there is a cell showing that that is the colour for carbohydrates. And of course we could say carrots also contain a lot of fibre in them, so we can put that up there as well. And we can go on and do that for the different foods. We can think about sweet, starch, bread, and so on. And thinking about food, once again, different kinds of foods and how we think about them. Grouping foods, well, we've got the foods here. We can say fibre, and we need fibre to help food move through the intestines easily. So here we are, we've got a few fibre foods and more fibre and more fibre, and we can do the same with protein and the others. And once again, we can go to a different linked activity there. Healthy eating, what we've got here is more foods, and we could say, right, well, we've got a salad on here, we decide what we have with that salad, and we will have an apple instead of having a pudding or sweet, and here we will have sausage and chips, nice but not something to have too often. And we write why we think that's a healthy meal. Well, a lot of fibre in it, a lot of vitamins, and here rather too much fat, not something to have every day. And again, remember that they've always got the research button that they can click on. Here, Helen's Healthy Cafe, and once again they can put foods on the plates and they can write down the menu. And here, Will is feeling ill, possibly link that to food poisoning, and cleanliness in the kitchen as we have here. And how smoking affects the body, so we click on different things here, and smoking may cause bronchitis and lung cancer, and we can write what happens here, or we can go into here, say no to smoking. This is a good activity for role play, one person in the middle and the other saying have one, and they're saying no, it would make my clothes smell, or no, it would do this, or no, it would do the other. Parts of the lungs, the labelling activity, how smoking affects the lungs, a different kind of no activity here using letters. You don't have to use the ones that are here, but the idea obviously for the children to think of a sentence beginning with those letters. Here, an if then because activity. If someone smokes heavily, then they may get because, and they can finish that one. And how smoking affects the alveoli, how alcohol affects the body, and in this instance they can click on and they can find out different things and add to there. And again, another no activity, similar to what we saw before. What the parts of the brain do, so we can click on that one, and this part controls muscles and balance. So we go into here, how alcohol affects the brain, and alcohol may cause people to trip and walk unsteadily. And here we are, how humans affect the environment. Totally open-ended, so should we say, well, we could talk about recycling, or we can talk about pollution, sound pollution, for instance. We can talk about carbon dioxide and the greenhouse effect. We can talk about how we recycle things. We can put our human in there, and we can talk about the greater the amount of population, the greater the effect. And we go here, the greenhouse effect. And here, of course, we've got an information screen, and we can link that, thinking about our carbon footprint and how humans affect the environment. I'm going back onto this one. Daily activities, carbon footprint, lowering the carbon footprint. What we do when we get up in the morning, well, we might put the kettle on, and that requires electricity, and that increases the carbon footprint, and so on. And here we go, the humans as organisms, and this is the end of this presentation.